Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Limitless show. You've got your host, Chris Stowe, with a Q. Looks like we're still rocking that. And I'm here with my boys, Simba, and I've also got Steve, aka Top D. And
Striker.
yes,
Let's do it.
Dragon.
we are excited to bring you episode 3. And we just want to say thank you so much for all the support and for all of you guys tuning in. The support's been crazy, guys, for us to actually gain an audience in just 3 episodes. It's very inspiring for us to keep going, and we're just grateful for everyone who's listening in.
Yeah.
And for this episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about practical tips that you can implement that will help you eventually develop that confidence and also develop your negotiation skills, perhaps in business, in sales, and even in relationships as well, in dating. Right. So this episode, we're going to be coming at you from all different angles, right? And
The ladies angle.
that's right.
Trouble.
Trouble. But hey, before we get to the ladies angle, maybe we'll start off with the sales angle because I know, Simba, you just recently told me that you've been busy with your career in sales, end of month. And maybe you can talk about, what do you teach your team when it comes to sales? What are the basics? What are some of the fundamentals that you begin to help them level up?
Yeah. No, straight up. And shout out to the team. I know a couple of the team be watching and listening. Shout out to the team hitting over target. Absolutely killing it. Month is not over yet. But, it's good. We're counting out to the 11th hour. But yeah, look, rule number 1 in sales for me has always been, if they're not fit for your product, don't sell it to them. Full stop. Right? Let's take it to like the dating scene, for example. You can't walk up to you. Oh, by the way, if for the dudes who got kahunas and that did the challenge, let us know what happened, how you felt, how that went and whatnot. And this is all leading me to the one point that if the product is not for them, don't sell it to them. Right? Sometimes you can speak to somebody. They want your product. Or let's say they're just tire kickers. All right? They don't know if they want it. They don't know if they do want it. The art of asking questions really gets you to where you need to be. You gotta ask the right question. Find out, are they actually qualified? Because as much as sales can be about, you have to convince the buyer to get your product, they have to convince you that they qualify for your product. That's my mindset with sales. Right? If they don't qualify, they don't qualify. So one of the things that I hop on about, I'm like, look, you know what? Sometimes you just got to walk away from the table. If they literally are not fit for the product, just walk away. Right? Because in walking away, you still maintain that dignity element.
That's right.
Whenever there's desperation, that comes across as neediness, and that's a little bit overbearing, and you end up losing the sale anyway.
Yeah.
So that's number 1. Number 2, for me, is this. Price is never the objection. It's never the objection. Suppose, let's say, Top D, you're selling like, I don't know, let's say consulting, right? They want to find out, okay, cool, how does Top D work at consulting? Shout out to Deca Consultancy. Anybody in the health industry, sneaky plug, make sure you hit up Deca Consulting. You know where to find it. And then get yourself some good consultation advice. But suppose our striker over here, he's acquiring a new client. The client goes, how much is it going to cost? If that's the first question. But a lot of people get hung up in that price war. But then no business owner wants to feel stupid. So the only most logical question is, hey, how much is it going to cost? Right? Because they don't know what else to ask.
Yeah.
So that depends. All right, yeah, no, for sure, I can cover that cost for you. But what are you actually looking for? And now you open up the door for them to tell you. But then in telling you, again, comes to rule number 1, they're qualifying themselves to you.
Correct.
And like you're listening, okay, is it going to be a fit? Is it going to be? If it's not going to be a fit, just be honest. Like, look, it's not going to work out. What you're asking for, I can't do that. What I can do is 1, 2, 3. If you want, let's have a conversation about this. Anything outside of that, I know a couple other people that can maybe help you out.
Yeah.
Here are their phone numbers. Go give them a call.
That's right.
And most people are like, well, damn, nobody does that.
Yeah.
Right? Because everyone's trying to sell out of desperation.
That's right.
Right? So really understanding what they need is the one thing that you need to know about, but then not making it about the price. If you go to a Lamborghini dealership, it's like, hey, you want this? I don't know, Aventador SV. It's going to cost you $1.3 million. That's too much for me. Can we make it like 1 million? They'll be like, dude, like, come on. It's not just any car that you're trying to buy here.
Yeah.
Right? They don't negotiate. I mean, you don't see like an advert for Lamborghinis on special. End of financial year sale, come get your Lambo. You don't see that. No. You don't see that because there's value in the product.
That's right.
Right? And number 3 off the back of that, you have to believe in what you're selling. Grant Cardone has this beautiful book, Sell or Be Sold.
love that.
Bruh, gangster book. Shout out to GC, Mr. Cardone Capital
Cardone.
himself, Papa G. And in that, there's this one chapter that really gets me. Like, it's like, dude, perfect. It's, are you sold on what you're selling? If you're not sold on the product you're selling, you're not going to speak with enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You're not going to communicate your passion to the merchant or merchant. This is what I deal with on a regular basis. But to your prospect or your potential buyer, they're not going to feel that strong conviction. Because if I have, let's say, for example, this can right here, if I freaking love this drink, I'm going to tell you all the good things about it. I'm going to be like, dude, you have to try it. Maybe I give you a sample. You'll be like, damn, this guy's amped up. I'm going to have to try it. Right? But whereas I'm like, oh, yeah, this drink. It's got B vitamins. Kind of tastes all right. You'll be like, all right, cool. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. And then the next one that a lot of people really miss is being able to communicate value,
That's right. Yeah.
but communicating right value. I can sit here. Suppose I'm doing sales for Deca Consultancy. And I'm like, we can do this, we can do websites, we can do financials, we can break down your investment plan, we can do X, Y, Z, yada, 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 yada. If I've just thrown all these features at you, but the only value you're actually looking for is one-to-one high-performance coaching, but I've thrown everything at you, all of a sudden you got information overload.
That's right.
And once you get that, it's kind of like, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, what are you looking for? You know what? Business is going great, but I need some coaching to understand how do I move as a business owner.
That's right.
Then Steve can go, all right, cool, bet. So in that department, what exactly are you talking about? Then you break that down. Like, what do they actually need?
Exactly.
And then from there, then you identify which ones of your feature sets actually speak to that need,
That's right.
right? If someone needs, all they want is a 2-door sports car to just go boom, just fast. And let's say they want a GTR, 2-seater. GTR goes fast, sounds cool. But you sit there, oh, look at this Hyundai Santa Fe, look at this Nissan X-Trail, this one has 4 doors, this one's got camping equipment. You're like, dude, I don't give a damn. I want a 2-door sports car. Right, so you got to keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah.
They're the main things. And again, the mindset of don't be afraid to walk away. Walk away from the deal if it's not going to work. And especially if, you have this mindset that happens where some customers treat their sales representatives as if they're their slave.
Yeah.
Like the customer's got this superiority complex, right? Backing yourself up. That's where that confidence comes in. You back yourself up. If they're being rude, hey, sir, ma'am, listen, I'm happy to have a conversation with you, but the way we're communicating right now, it's not quite to a level that I can actually work with you. So how about we revisit this call another time? Or maybe, I'm not the salesperson for you. I'm not quite sure, like, what exactly is it? And don't be afraid to address it. Like, I can feel the tension. Like, what's the tension about?
That's right.
I understand you feel a little bit like maybe agitated, maybe you're frustrated, but I'm trying to help you. And there are plates in the background.
Yeah, man.
It's
That's
all
so
right.
good.
It's the cleaners. Shout out to the cleaners. Thank you very much for cleaning up our office.
For sure.
And, standing up for yourself is important. If you don't stand up for yourself, your customer's not. They just want to like beat you down and get the cheapest price.
Yeah.
And some customers just have a ball just knocking down salespeople. Right? So it comes from that internal fortitude. If you're sold on what you're doing, you're not going to keep it about price. You actually value what you're selling and you actually flip it to be, okay, how does my customer qualify for my product? Not the other way around.
Yeah.
Because they're coming expecting to be sold. It's like, no. You sell me why I should sell to you. That's the mindset you want. And then only communicating what's important.
Yeah.
They're the
Yeah.
things, right? And walk away from the table. Just walk away.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times, if you walk away from the table, nobody's ever done that to them before.
Yeah.
They'll be like, why does Steve walk away? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Steve, how can we work together? Now they're chasing you.
Yeah.
Then now you know they're sold.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just get them to sign the dotted line and you're done. So a lot of sales psychology comes down to really like belief. If you're sold on yourself first and then the product, you can do everything else.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Straight bombs right there, man.
Bars.
100%.
Dang.
For all those sale aspirations and all those people that are pursuing sales, I think you can get some powerful things from Simba just then.
Yeah, it was
Those
pure
three
values.
things. And
Quite
I
a
actually
lot.
want to touch base on what you said, right, about having that qualifying mindset. I remember back in network marketing, it was buyer-seller dynamic. That's how we called it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We wanted to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
the
yeah.
buyer and not the seller. And maybe Steve, you can talk a little bit about that because, in dating, right? I think that's what people want to hear.
Top D dating.
How do you operate with that same mentality when you're not being desperate and you're not giving off that energy that you just want, this lady for a night? How do you
One
not
night
come
stand.
across? Yeah, that's right. How do you not come across as that? Because I think guys might be dealing with that, especially if you're like hella thirsty and you're also like inexperienced in a way.
Yeah.
Drink some water if you're thirsty, boy.
Yeah, and yeah, look, we've all been there at some stage of our life, but how did you sort of channelize that energy and put it in a manner where, you can carry yourself in the top D style?
Okay, interesting. So I think the biggest thing is if you, like Simba said, it's a desperation. If you're desperate for someone, there's a part of you that's incomplete. So you need to figure out why you're incomplete first. Because you don't want to go to something and not whole with yourself and bring those damaged goods into it. You're just going to have a negative impact on their life. You need to be happy yourself and you need to add to your happiness. That's the principle. All right. And then you also need to understand that the value you bring to the relationship makes a huge difference. Right. When you're going to find the woman that you're passionate about building a future with, it's important to look for qualities that you would want to build that future with, So for me, it's a mentality of I just work on myself, be the best version of me, and that energy and that development attracts the right people to me.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you need a one night stand, for example, if you really just about sex, then it is just about sex. So you just got to make your intention clear. Because that leads to two benefits. One, the other person is clear on your intent, so they know what they're getting involved with. And second, you know what your need is. So if your need is fulfilled, then it's done. That's it. But if you're not clear on your needs, then whatever you enter into, if you will miscommunicate, and you'll end up hurting the other person you're with, because you're not clear of your own needs. Some people actually think they're looking for a one night stand and they're looking for the one.
Yeah, they're actually looking for their long life partner.
That's right.
Don't be looking on Tinder for your long life partners, people. Like, come on. It's like going to a basketball game trying to watch soccer. Like, what are you doing?
That's right. It's because you're not presenting yourself at your highest level. You know what I mean? So when you're actually presenting yourself at the highest level, when you're actually just working yourself, enjoying your own vibe, and just developing all kinds of different, doing things you're passionate about, basically, things that make you happy, you would generally attract the best person for you. That's my biggest thing. It's like when you just do you, be you, and just find the happiness that you freaking deserve, all the good things that you will in your life will come to you.
Yeah,
So-
damn.
What do you guys reckon?
I've
That's
been there.
powerful.
I felt that, so I can relate with you. What about yourself?
I can relate. I can relate 100%. I think, there's something to be said about the dating scene and the manipulation that goes on.
The game,
Right, the games. And look, I mean, if somebody wants, to develop the art of risk just to smash and dash, I don't know, like you do you, but
Yeah,
you
you
know,
do you.
What goes around comes around. That's what I'm gonna say. You know what I mean? And you never know. I heard of a story, man, where this dude, and this was in a place I used to work in one of the gyms. This dude decided he's gonna, try to like tune this girl. Okay, no worries. Did his thing and whatnot, smash and dash after like apparently 2 or 3 times, and that was it.
Yeah.
So he then goes to get a job somewhere else, and it turns out her dad was the CFO. Yeah. And her dad knew this guy's face because he had been at the house. She had shared him photos, yada, yada, yada.
Damage
His
control.
his entire time at that company, he literally lasted apparently like 2 or 3 months. His entire time there, he was literally like dreading repercussions because he just kind of ghosted and just kind of like fled, right? And here she is thinking like a whole fairy tale, like, oh my God, we're going to fall in love, we're going to get married, yada, 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 yada. She ended up being one of my clients anyway when I was a PT because there's a thing about emotional pain driving people to have to let it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes whether it's the gym,
Yeah.
or you're taking like you're going for a run, or you're doing boxing, or whatever the heck you do to find your outlet, right? That tends to drive people into a better mindset. But had he been honest, imagine like the difference that would have made in that interaction, like Steve was saying, right? And I think honesty needs to come from every angle, angle. It's about having those crucial conversations.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah, it's a two-way street.
Yep.
It's a straight up two-way street.
It's a two-way street, right? And of course, there's the other side of the token where dudes get played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've seen that.
Girls start dating. Oh yeah, you know, I'm looking for something serious. Yada yada yada. After like a couple of like dates and whatnot, she decides I'm gonna palm him off. When I was a dating coach, oh my days. All right, so when I was a dating coach, I did this at the same time as PT. What I used to have, and like me being talkative, me being a PT, I used to dress up in like the Anytime Fitness like Running Man suit. I'll see if I got a photo. This is like a purple suit, like bodacious muscles, right, bigger than my own head, but I'm wearing this little head like. But so what would happen is I would find my way into some of these like girl groups, right? In the sense that one of my clients is like a dude's like, look, really struggling in my relationship. Yeah, I'm like, well, how did you guys meet? Like, how did it happen? How did this? How did that? Anyway, and a lot of them, it will start the wrong way. It starts on Tinder, and look, don't get me wrong. I've heard of cases where it starts on Tinder, they become beautiful relationships.
Yeah.
What that turns into down the track, don't know. But anyway,
Yeah.
they start on Tinder. He met the girl while she was in like, I guess, her zone of just being free and, you know, dating whoever she wants, doing whatever she wants and whatnot. That's all cool. Hey, whatever. You do you. Yeah, the 304 phase. If you don't know what 304 means, spell 304 with block letters, flip it upside down. You'll figure that one out. That's one for the censorship. You got it? You get it?
No.
Let's throw it out for you later, bro.
We'll
Did you
spell it
see
out
my
later.
face? It was blank. I was shooting blanks,
Oh,
boys.
man. Hey. You don't want to be shooting blanks. Gentlemen, if you're shooting blanks, please go visit your doctor.
Pilot.
Anyway, and so what would happen would be, because I really wanted to understand like what goes through like their minds, like how do they get their influences?
Yeah.
Right? Because obviously, you know, you can either be dating the girl or dating her friends. And you need to find the line between the two. Right? So, you know, I would find like, you know, like a friend of a friend of a friend who happens to know somebody, maybe through like another gym that I know a PT they're at. And he'd introduce me to that friend. I'd be like, look, hey, listen, here's the go. I'm coaching this guy, part of his relationship, yada, yada, yada. Because like what people don't realize about personal training, it's you got either physical training, which is just the body, or you have personal training, which is the life. Right? So I had the actual physical aspect. Then you had the life. Like, hey, what keeps you up at night? That's what you uncover a lot of these like dating things. Like 90% of dudes' problems come down to girls. It's absolutely amazing. So you'd find out, okay, this is what keeps you up at night. What keeps you agitated? What environments are you hanging around in? What about this? What about that? What about that? Because all of that, if you don't manage it, it actually shows up in your body.
Yeah.
The more stress you put on your body, got a lot of cortisol flooding through there. Your body can't recover properly. Your brain never shuts off. You can't sleep. You can't recover. Your progress just hits a wall.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, personal training was let's fix all of these things that are impacting this one thing.
That's right.
So I get into these girl groups, and you look at the way that they talk to each other about the boys they're dating, and unfortunately, and obviously I wouldn't get in like me. I'd have like a burner profile and log in that way, right? I'll be this is my friend Stacy, yada yada yada. Obviously I'm not anymore, so whatever. Stacy was the name of this supposed person. Oh, it's my friend Stacy, yada yada yada. She'll come meet the girls one day, yada. And I'll be like in this group, they're like, oh yeah, no worries, and they'll just keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
And I quickly came to realize that, like Steve said, it's a two-way street. The games are on both sides of the streets.
That's right.
The truth also needs to be on both sides of the streets, right? And it's about having those difficult conversations up front. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with
for
that.
sure. But also, it's interesting you bring up this idea that, you know, it's all how all these problems with these men stem with the dating scene. Because
Why is that?
because of self-image issues. You know,
Dive into that.
Lack
Let's
of
hear it.
training as well. Like,
It's-
you don't get taught this.
We don't have. There's no place to really learn these skills. We learn it from, say, our father, our mates,
Experience.
these father figures, or these male icons that we look up to, associate with. And the thing is, they don't know the answers either. So then
Yeah,
you become the product of the environment, like what we previously discussed. So you don't have those correct skills transferred through, especially in today's generation, because it's diluted with dating apps and all kinds of insecurities that we possess that we're just not comfortable with. So because men are just not so comfortable with themselves now, when they go out to the dating scene, they're really, really challenged to communicate with a woman effectively, because they don't know how to present themselves to their best self. You know, they'll look at a woman and they're intimidated, right? Some of the most beautiful women in this world, they actually never get approached by the right guy because they're just too intimidating to the right guy.
You know what I found out about that too? Actually, Chris, you want to say something?
No,
Go
go
ahead.
on, go on. I'll share my take in a sec.
What I find out about this, and I had to do this study.
Yeah.
I would literally like go and ask them, right? You see, like, according to society, sense a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't give a damn. I'm like, if you don't want to talk to me, whatever, who cares? If you do, then great. I'll rock up and be like, hey, I got a question for you. I'm doing a bit of research. Like, I'll just be like straight up.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the research about? I'm like, I'm just asking about like dating and whatnot. Someone will be like, nah, don't worry about it. I'm like, all right, cool, see you. But whenever I got an opportunity to speak to one of these, like, supposed 10 out of 10s, you know, she could be like a blonde or a brunette or whatever people's standards of a 10 out of 10 is,
Yep.
I'll go speak to them. I'm like, hey, so how many times a night do you get approached when you're out and about in the bar? Once, twice, at best. Like, at best, right? All the dudes are like, oh my God, look at that girl, look at that girl, look at that girl. None of them approach.
No.
Yep.
Same thing in the gym. When I was a PT, right? Half my clients that were ladies, because I had like a 50-50 client base.
Yeah.
Half my clients, I'm like, hey, so obviously, like, you like to work out. All these dudes are looking, you know, whenever we do training sessions, maybe you're doing legs or you're doing back or whatever, you got all these eyes on you. How many dudes in the gym actually told her? She's like, not a lot, maybe like one or two. Like the other PTs, obviously, they'll talk. And then everybody else, not.
Yeah.
It's very, they actually get depressed about it.
Yeah.
They're like, I am too pretty.
Yeah.
I need to be uglier so that I get approached.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. But Chris,
Pure
please.
intimidation.
That's wild,
Yeah.
man. Like,
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's interesting because I was actually gonna share a different take because you asked like, why is it that guys don't have like that confidence to approach girls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, like I used to be so scared, and I remember like getting out of it because maybe I was just like sexualizing women,
That comes from movies, by the way.
movies, and also
And music.
pornography.
Yeah.
And
If I can
porn.
keep it real.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think that may have an effect, especially as a young age. I remember like, you know, me and my mates, we were like doing all of that stuff, like maybe year 6, year 7. we
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that had something to like a factor to do with it. But I think once I stopped like sexualizing women and actually see them as people,
Yeah.
like that's when you're able to like, oh, right, they can hold a conversation just as you hold a conversation with a guy.
That's right.
That's right.
Right.
They're
So I
just
think
another
that the mind shift sort of like helped me.
Yeah.
Become more confident.
I was speaking to this one chick, like this is a while ago, and we actually touched on the subject, right? Where, because I was like, she's like, oh, like, are you on TikTok? Have you seen? I'm like, no, I don't vibe with TikTok. Like, you open TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, like it's all like soft core stuff. Like it's bad. And she's like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, why? I just don't like being on it. And then we ended up on this tangent where she's like, you know what? Apparently it makes the dating scene for women that much worse because these dudes that are used to just squeezing off like every night, they come squeezing off. What the hell?
That's like toothpaste, bro.
Squeezing
A
off.
man's toothpaste is running low.
Target practice. Pow.
Get that boy some tissues.
Oh, not the sock. Don't do it in the sock, boys.
No. Don't forget alcohol wipes, yeah? We don't want that bacteria.
You gotta stay clean according to Dr. D. Anyway, yeah, so these dudes, and what she said, like, it actually baffled me. I was like, damn, because I never thought about it like that. So, dudes would come with these expectations that they've seen on videos and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they're expecting like all this like gymnastics, like all this like trapeze, this, that, and the third, chains, whips, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. And what she said was, it actually makes it so much worse because it apparently removes the intimacy for them.
Correct.
And now it becomes a performance. And then when they actually can't do whatever this dude's trying to get them to do because they physically can't, then they feel less than actually valued because like, oh, I can't do it, so I'm inadequate, so I can't please him.
That's right.
Right? And then it literally turns into she just ends up resenting him and like they just don't connect or like this, that, and the like 10,000 things go on. The other side of the token that she says, she's like, I hate it because like if a dude just goes and just obviously use another term for squeezing off. I'm gonna keep that term, squeezing off.
I like it.
It's much cleaner than J-O, J off.
Toothpaste.
Yeah, and and the other thing she said about it is like she found it hard to basically arouse the dude because he's aroused by these like make believe sort of scenarios, which are professionally produced, by the way.
Yep.
Right? To like an extent where it's kind of like that's their day to day. There are like procedures, and there are like all these different things that they use in them, but it actually ends up making it difficult for her to then get that just basic like, oh, he's aroused because like I'm around, or like because I'm sitting on his leg or whatever, right? And then it turns into like, oh my god, this is literally like a working. Like I'm trying to work. I was like, huh, you know. So dudes, if you're out there, stop squeezing off. Get off the hub. Don't be doing none of that. Get off the dating apps as well. I say get off the dating apps as well, because what it gets you in the habit of, you're swiping and you're prejudging people by their look.
Yeah.
Right? And you're literally just prejudging by that. And yes, looks are important, but you can't make up your entire relationship over looks or over text. Steve said it the other week, like get on the phone. Hop on the phone, chat, see if you connect. Better yet, go out and meet people. Like in the gym, at the shops. I don't know if you do volleyball or soccer, wherever the heck you are.
Yeah.
You know?
I think people are just too comfortable, and what they because they text so much, you don't have that intimate connection. But when you speak to them, you can really build some deep level of chemistry. And so many people are afraid to get on the phone and speak to a girl they like. Like they'll just stick on the apps for like ages until they meet. I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? When you speak to them, you can actually build that chemistry and tension, and that way when you meet them, you know there's actually something already there. It's better for the relationship. It's better to build that bond. Another two things I want to touch base on. One is when you're making love to someone, you got to understand it's exchange of energy. You know, it's the exchange of energy. So if you're just fucking being a total whore and just fucking tons of people, you're actually transferring your energy out to random people, and their energy is rubbing on you.
Have you ever heard about soul ties?
No.
Do you know about soul ties?
No, I don't.
All right.
Enlighten me.
So I guess for those people who like to look into like the spiritual world and whatever, soul ties. What soul ties are is Steve was talking about the extent. This is what triggered it, and I'm gonna let you continue straight up. I'll take a little like 1 minute. So apparently, like, you know, like you have sex with a girl, right? Like you exchange that energy, like Steve was talking about. But every single time that she sleeps with someone or that you sleep with someone, you're taking a piece of them, kind of like becomes a part of you. It's like that energy seeping in. So suppose like I don't know, like some dude meets like some girl, and she's had like I don't know, like 30 or 40 like sexual partners, and then he sleeps with her. He slept with her plus the 30 dudes before her, because everything she is, and this goes vice versa. Everything the dude is a combination of all the girls that he's been with, and then he passes that on. So that energy is passed on to her, or that energy is passed on to him, and that makes it. So people end up with like messed up like habits out of nowhere. They're like, where the heck did that come from?
That's right.
One of the 30 dudes that you know, because like it's kind of like
Trauma.
literally you transfer like trauma. There's like
That's right.
there's like a transaction that goes on where like you transfer trauma. It's crazy stuff. Look at the soul ties. That stuff is crazy.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you, man. And that's exactly the thing, you know. If you're cultivating the high level energy, you want to actually be with someone who's doing the same, because it just adds passion. And that's the second factor. When you truly have something passionate with someone, both people involved will truly enjoy that interaction more.
Yeah.
Making love passionately is so much better than just fucking straight up, because there's nothing to gain from that. You know what I mean? It is a self-satisfaction, but when you're doing it passionately, you're trying to please the other person as much as they're trying to please you, and that actually forms a deeper, richer experience for both people involved. You know, and that's why nowadays you find a lot of women will complain about foreplay, because men just want to get straight to business, right? Because that's all they know. Because they watch porn. They watch
Squeezing off to a role play.
That's it. You know, they pop that toothpaste and they're done. But but
That's a good one.
But when you deal up foreplay, it's that building that tension from the very beginning, and that creates that extra bit of drive between you and the person you're with. So by the time you really get to the crux of making business together, it's just a whole nother level of intimacy that is actually lacking in a lot of relationships now. And it creates what we call an imprint, because
Imprint and soul ties.
that's it. That's it. So once you truly imprint on someone, doesn't matter who they're with, they'll remember you.
How many hearts have you broken, huh? Yeah, damn. That's crazy. It's very true.
Cheers, boys. But it's just that's all I want to say is that it's you want to when you're in that state that you're dating someone, all you want to do is make sure you're putting your best foot forward. If there's untapped trauma, if there's issues within yourself that you need to deal with, then work on that first.
Go to therapy, yo.
That's it.
Go to therapy.
Don't be afraid. And if you're not happy and comfortable with your body, it's okay. Take the steps to work on yourself. Hit the gym. Actually take steps to feel comfortable and sexy and confident in who you are, because it will show. One of the biggest things that any opposite sex will always find attractive is confidence, because confidence gives security, and that security is very vital, because in an uncertain world, that's what we need, is the confidence that you and me together will get through it. So if you're not confident, how the hell is your partner going to feel secure that whatever they face, you're going to be able to have the balls to handle it?
That's powerful. And even that, like, confidence starts from, like, what do you do for yourself? Right? Like, step number one, if you eat McDonald's every day, if you want to be healthier, if you eat McDonald's every single day, your first step, stop eating McDonald's every single day.
Yeah.
Right? There's a principle in personal training where it says you can never out-train a bad diet.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if, I don't know, like, you train, let's say, 30 minutes a day, every single day, but all day you're slapping down Macca's burgers and, like, chips and, like, milkshakes. Like, you can't out-train a bad diet. Of course, we're not going to go into the world of, like, surplus and deficits. That's a different ballgame. That's for the people that know what they're doing. But your
save
first
that for
step...
another episode, eh?
Yeah, we'll get, like, a nutritionist on board or something.
Christian's coach.
Hashtag
The
Ralph.
first step. Oh, 100%. Hey, why not?
Shout out to you, bud.
Shout out to Raph. You're coming on there very soon.
Yeah.
The first step, stop eating McDonald's every single day. If you don't drink water, start drinking water. That's your step number one. I think people see all these bodacious, like, goals and they're like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be like that. But it starts from, like, that first step,
Yeah.
right? If you want to be able to do, like, 20 push-ups and you've never done a push-up in your life, you don't just start by going for 20 because you're not going to be able to do it. You might force yourself, but after 2 days, you're like, whatever. But start with, like, one push-up. Maybe you got to do it on your knees, but you start with one.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, 1, 2. And then you go, okay, 1, 2, 3, nice and slow. Nice and slow. You know, like practical stuff like that. Like, go buy clothes that fit you.
Yes.
That's
The
another
little
one.
Things.
Go buy, there's a book called The Greatest Salesman in the World. Hang on, I actually carry a copy. Yo, every day. Where's my bag? I'm not even capping. I carry this book every single day.
Respect.
That's a prized possession right there.
This thing right
The
here.
good stuff. Yeah.
The greatest salesman in the world.
This is OG.
Yeah.
OG Mandigo. Mandino, my bad.
That's biblical stuff, bro.
This book right here, right? This book, it talks about your attitude, and it says even if you have days where you're not feeling 100% top of the world, like in control, go buy new threads. Because you put on a fresh pair of new threads, new shoes, whatever, like it adds a mojo to you. You know what I mean? Little things like that. And that bleeds into the confidence. Of course, that's the external. Then there's the internal stuff, but start there. You know what I mean?
But you know, we touched on something that really fires me up, which is all of this starts with consistency and discipline when you train. All right? And to be honest, discipline is a byproduct of consistency. You know what I mean? When you do something regularly, yeah, that's fine. That's the consistent habit of improving.
Yeah.
But discipline is the choice that when you don't want to do it, you do it because it's a must. It has to be done. You know what I mean? And that makes a huge difference in the whole process because you're pushing yourself to break the barriers that you limit yourself to.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So that impacts the whole journey because people complain about not being too tired to go to the gym in the morning or after work. But you're actually giving an excuse an avenue because if you're just doing it out of trying to be consistent, then the excuse pops up.
Yeah.
And you're just blocking your goals in that same process. But when you're disciplined, you're saying no to your excuses. You're
Yeah.
putting them aside and saying this must be done.
Yeah.
You're taking the element of choice out. And when you take the element of choice, it becomes a behavior and habit. And when it
Yeah.
becomes a habit, that's when you're truly, truly, truly in a rhythm with yourself. And that becomes a core part of your lifestyle. And that lifestyle will then add to elevating yourself. You know what I mean? It just becomes a habit and that becomes a priority. And when it becomes a priority, then you know you're actually knowing what you need to do in your daily routine to keep yourself at a certain level.
Yeah.
So it becomes a non-negotiable, not just with yourself, but with your goals in the process. So when you enter, coming back to this idea of relationship, you still fit your training in. You still fit the self-care in.
Yeah.
Because it's a non-negotiable of who you are, allows you to be your best self. You know what I mean? And that means whenever you're with someone, no matter who they are, no matter how much you value them, you don't let them take that away from you. Because if they take that away from you, straight up, they're going to hinder your self-development.
Oh,
You know, that's why men have this idea that sometimes when they're in a relationship, they put relationship away. But it also affects the woman as well, right? Because they do the same. But all of a sudden, when you're single, it's like the forbidden pre-workout kicks in.
Yeah.
You're just on that game train all the time.
But you know what that is though? In my time as a PT, what that always was somebody needed to release emotional energy. Right? They say like if you're very emotional, you just had a fight with like your partner or like whatever, something is bothering you emotionally, go for a run.
Yeah.
Because the way that you let's say like you ball out into tears and cry.
That's right.
It's your heart rate increases, like you're just letting things out. That's your brain releasing attention. By you running, you're mimicking the same physiological response of that. You're letting that energy out.
Yeah.
And that energy dissipates.
Yeah.
Right? And some of those things that you do for yourself is the equivalent of like filling yourself up. That's why I picked up this cup again. This cup is only got to drop in it. Hang on a second. Alright. And it drops. So this cup is empty.
Yeah.
If I try to pour into another cup, onto this book, oh, there's a drop in there. But I can never drench this book.
Because there's nothing in this cup.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Zero. Nothing in this cup.
Yeah.
Now, if 4 other cups came here, they're like, oh, hey, we need some water. I can't pour nothing into it. Why? Because I got nothing in here to begin with.
That's right.
So when you do things for yourself, you're pouring into yourself first.
Yeah.
So people get into a relationship, keep doing the habits that you had before you got the relationship.
That's right.
Because odds are like you might have like met the girl like at the gym or wherever you met, you had things you were doing for yourself. Don't
Yeah.
stop because you get in a relationship.
That's
People
right.
get comfortable, like what Steve said.
I agree.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
100%. And the thing is, because she fell in love with you because of who you are.
Because of who you are.
So if
Yeah.
when you go into a relationship and you stop being who you are, it's natural that she'll fall out of love with you in the process because you yourself have fallen out of love with yourself
Yeah.
because you're not holding yourself accountable anymore to the journey that you put yourself on in the beginning.
Oh, straight up. That's when she goes, oh, you changed.
Exactly.
You're like, what do you mean I changed?
And then
I
you get
didn't change.
hostile.
And then
Exactly.
you get hostile.
You get hostile. You think she's you the voice that you've been hearing in your head that's been telling you you need to get back into things. You project it away from yourself and you project it towards your partner, and
Yeah.
then you're just like, you're the reason that I'm like this.
And then you think she's attacking you.
Then you think she's attacking you, and she becomes enemy number one. But
Yeah.
really, you just need to hold yourself accountable and be like, hey, I made some mistakes. And
Straight
you
up.
know, I've let myself go,
Yeah.
and I need to get back on this journey myself. You need to start to really develop the habits. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If she retaliates when you get on this regime of retraining yourself and developing yourself,
Yeah.
that is a reflection of her own insecurities. That is a reflection
Somebody comes to mind.
of her not being able to deal with her own problems and her challenges that she's facing internally.
Before you go on, whoever you are, if this resonates with you, please go see a therapist. You'll be okay. Please continue.
100%. And going.
Yeah. But that's what I always find, because
Yeah.
a lot of the gents who speak to me and you know, about their partners and how sometimes they're just trying to, like, one gentleman spoke to me recently. He's like, you know, I'm all about the gym. I love working out.
Yeah.
But my partner isn't about it. You know what I mean? And I said, cool, simple. Ask yourself this: can you live with that? Is that what if you were looking at yourself and you were thinking about your ideal partner, the person that you want to build your future with, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
And he was thinking about it. And I said, now think about this. When you look at your woman, can you love her? Can you find her attractive? Can you feel satisfied and happy when you look at her the way she is? And
Mm.
depending on that answer, that affects the whole thing. Because if you can, then it's okay.
Let's be honest. He probably can. I mean, dudes are physical. Like, let's be real.
Yeah. But you see, for some people, it goes beyond the physical because
Yeah.
mentally, the personality, the energy, all that they find so much more attractive, and then they'll be fine with it. They'll be like, oh, it's her. As long as I look after myself and I do up in myself and I'm feeling fit and healthy, it's all good.
Yeah.
He'll be satisfied and he wouldn't worry about her. But then there's the other case when the guy's not
Mm.
right.
Mm.
When
Mm.
he's like, this is what I want. I want a girl who's in the gym training with me, hustling just as much as me. And I've had dudes approach me about this and how do I deal with this situation? And I'm like, it's called communication, mate. You
Yeah.
need, you need, it all depends. If you don't make that vocal to your partner that this is something really important to you, you're just going to keep blaming each other whose fault it is. You know?
Ooh. And before you move on, and on that as well, don't be dating to convert someone to a project.
That's right.
That's the biggest. Like, dudes are like, well, they know, and maybe it comes from desperation. I don't know.
Yeah.
They'll date someone that they're like, yeah, they're clearly not like the person that I want. Okay, let's say you want a girl that hits the gym, drives a Lambo, and I don't know, she's like multi-millionaire e-commerce girl, just like yourself or whatever, right? And then you go and find one that's like completely the opposite, and then you try to turn her into that.
Yeah.
Now you're getting into that game of manipulation.
Yes.
I like
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah. And you'll just end up gaslighting each other.
Yeah.
You know what
And
I
that's
mean?
not healthy.
That's not healthy. You know what I mean? And the thing is, if you try to change someone, you're taking them away from their own journey of self discovery because you're molding them into who you want them to be, not who they're going to be, not
Mm.
who they envision themselves to be. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And the biggest thing about any relationship is that open communication of working together and developing each other. You know, if there's one person that you should be listening to on feedback on self improvement, it's your partner. Because if they can't tell you straight that you need to work on this and this, just like you need to work on yourself, then how can you trust anyone else?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Your partner's gonna call you out straight up. You know, if you're slacking, then it's their responsibility as your partner to be like, hey, we gotta fix this up. If you're wasting your partner's money or your own money like an absolute crazy nut, it has to be that communication because
Yeah.
otherwise you're just creating trauma and psychological problems and financial problems. And I'm
Mm.
telling you this, it will affect your relationship.
Mm.
It will affect your relationship.
Mm.
You know what I mean? One of the coolest things that I've experienced, you know how it's this notion that men always pay on dates?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Men always pay on dates. Men should pay on the first date.
Yeah.
Okay? Now imagine this. You go on a date with someone, right? And the girl pays. You know, how sick is that? You know what I mean? How interesting is that? She pays for Whoop.
Whoa.
Sorry.
All
Got a
keep
bit
it going.
passionate there.
It's all good.
No, but
Steve's a little bit wet, ladies and gentlemen.
but my point is, she pays on that day, and it's just an interesting thing to see that she values your time just as much as you value her. You can split the bill. You know, whichever way you go. But it's interesting the change in dynamic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a gentleman thing to do, pay on the date. It's totally fine. But if she pays on the date too, she's valuing your time just as much. You know what I mean? If you pay on the first date as a gentleman, cool. Would she pay on the second? You know what I mean?
Here's a question. Actually, I don't know if Krista has something else like input because especially we go a little bit left.
We're on a good roll here.
Look, people, this might turn out to be a little bit longer than like the 40, 45 minutes, but I think we're on some good juice right here. We're on the juice. So here's a question that I want to ask both of you because I was having this discussion the other day with someone, and I was like, you know what? That's actually I'll reserve my opinion. So, is it okay to test the person you're going on a date with when it comes to paying for stuff or anything else?
Is this the first few days?
Like, yeah, first few dates. Is it
Yeah.
okay to test, and what is okay to test? And gentlemen, this will put you on game of like maybe give you a couple of ideas. Again, this is not dating advice; it's mostly like some perspectives, right? Because don't nobody come at us for trying to sue us for ruling your relationship. That's your own problem. It sounds like a you problem. But is it okay to test? And what exactly is okay to test? And how should you test?
And
It's simple. Go first.
if I could share from my experience,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
what I did was, first date, I paid
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the actual dinner.
Yeah.
But a good sign that you have a partner, not just a girlfriend that you're gonna be casually dating for a few years or
Yeah.
a few months, is that she actually, like my partner, actually paid for desserts.
Mm.
And that was just a good sign to show me that hey, she's independent,
Mm.
and that's sort of my type, anyways.
She contributed.
Yeah,
That's right.
she can
She
contribute.
wants to contribute.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that was a good sign for me, especially just on the first date.
Yeah.
The fact that she paid for dessert
Yeah.
showed that hey, she's not here just for my, you know. So
Yeah.
that's one thing, and also just over time as well. I actually learned this from Jay Shetty. He said that
Hey.
on a first date, if you bring your whoever you're seeing on that date to meet your family, that way, like when you're around your family, right, your family will call you out if you're like trying
Hey.
to talk
Yeah.
yourself up.
Gentlemen, you got some big balls to do that.
That's a challenge. Whoever wants to do that, but yeah, Jay Shetty's on some other thing,
Yeah.
but
I'm protective of my family though, not just
That's
anybody.
yeah,
same
it's not
thing
for
on me.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very protective of my family. Anyway, please
If you
continue.
meet my
Continue.
family, you're in, mate.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to just like bring your like
Like
anyone
just
to your
anyone.
family. But
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting take. I personally haven't done that myself,
Yeah.
but I know sometimes when you're just dating a few times, right, early on, it's like you're trying to impress the girl, the girl's trying to sort of impress you as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think a good way to sort of gauge if they're not like just playing any games is to take them to maybe do activity on a date
Yeah.
instead of just like
One of my
Mm.
favorites. Yeah.
instead of just going out for dinner
Mhm.
and just like
Yeah.
trying to talk yourself up.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, ditch the dinner dates. Go for ice cream and a coffee or
Yeah,
something.
that's
First
right.
dates, just ditch it.
Because
Sorry.
it's all
Please.
about the conversation.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
it.
I
man.
agree. And I think with the activities as well, you can see like if someone's getting like agitated, like that's a good sign. Right?
That's
You
right.
can see if they're like
Yeah.
emotionally stable.
Yeah.
That's one tip.
Hashtag therapist.
But what about you, my man? What you got to share?
No, it's just interesting because for me with any of that situation,
Mm,
I think it's just you just know with the partner, right? You just know how they react to
Mm.
any situation that's given to you.
Mm.
So their reaction is what determines the whole thing. For
Yeah.
me, for me,
Yep.
it's just if they ever offer during the date to, or if they ever communicate that or graciousness throughout the day, if I'm covering the bill, that shows signs for me of how they value me in their life, how they value me in the relationship. Because if
Mm.
they value me, they're like, thank you so much. Like some people, you pay for it, but they never make a single comment. They'll be like, oh, it's like expected that you
Entitlement.
pay. You know what I mean? And if
Mm.
that's a warning sign for me, I'm
mm,
like,
Straight up.
if you don't show any sense of appreciation, but if I pay and they're like, thank you so much, I really appreciate you for paying for dinner. I just want to say, like, you didn't have to. I appreciate it. Or sometimes they'll be like, oh, you know what? You paid for dinner. Can I pay for the movie tickets? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Or
Yeah.
like, oh, you booked a hotel. Can I pay half? Or can I pay it next time? Or even then, they're
Like they
like,
want to contribute.
they want to contribute
Yeah.
because if they're going to be a life partner, they better get used to contributing. You know what I mean?
I agree with that, man.
Yeah.
I agree.
So those are signs to you. If they never ever ever pull out their wallet in at least 2 or 3 days, that's a warning sign for me because they're getting comfortable with you being the breadwinner. You know what I mean? And yes,
Yeah.
as a man, you do have a responsibility
Yeah.
to be
Talk
the
that talk.
protector, the
Mhm.
provider, the father figure,
mm,
and bring in the bread for your family because you're going to be holding down the fort.
Yep.
But in
Yeah.
today's society, both men and women have more sense of equality where they're both going and bringing their independent moolah to the table.
Yeah.
So if they don't necessarily need to be making more or less than you, but if they show any sense of contribution, that's a valuable trait because
Yeah.
she's willing to come to the table with you. That shows that if there's challenges that you're gonna face, she's more than likely gonna go, I'm willing to put my money on the line with you. I'm
Yeah.
willing
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
risk it with
Mm.
you.
mm.
Mm.
Well, if she's never gonna pay for anything, she's already just like, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, and look, on that topic as well. This is an important one because this is a very important one to dive into, fellas. This one's got to be a little bit longer than normal, but we need to talk about this. Right, let's have a red table talk. No entanglements. No entanglements. We're just bringing you the will of the people.
Don't slap nobody, boy.
Yeah, don't slap nobody. Hey, if you get mad, don't be slapping people out here now. We don't condone violence on the Limitless or anywhere in life. Unless you're in
it's
the boxing ring.
ring.
There you go. Yeah, our own top striker, sneaky plug, top striker. Hey, when's your fight, man? When's your fight?
July 19th.
July 19th. He'll let you know all
You're
the
gonna
dates.
see me at the gong.
At the gong, he's going to be fighting in the gong. But anyway, let's get back to it. So on that topic as well, there is something to be, and yes, there's the traditional masculine, or like you pay for this, you did this, you did that, you did that, which is all cool. But I once heard it say, "Oh my elbow's wet."
Oh,
Who wetting my elbow up in here?
damn.
Basement flooded. No, hey.
It's a goddamn river in here.
Niagara Falls happened.
Oh, shit.
Hey, you can't pour from an empty cup. That's a lesson right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes you spill yourself a little bit too much. You got nothing left for yourself. Anyway,
Straight out of here.
yeah, dropping bars. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, there's the whole tradition masculine sort of thing where like man, provider, protector, yada yada. And look, I'll say two things. Number one, fellas, let your ladies contribute. And I've been guilty of this. I'm like, nah, like it's like the traditional role. And like, every dude's like if you really don't care, you're like, oh, whatever, like I'm good. You can just pay for everything. You don't think twice. But there's also the element where, like Steve said, if they want to contribute, and it becomes a point that they want to contribute. It's not just saying it just to say it. Because there are some they'll say it just to say it. There are others that are like, dude, like you not pay. And like it's happened to me, right? I'll be out of like dinner or whatever. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm just gonna get to the bathroom. Come back, she's already paid the bill. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, right. So there's that. So fellas, let them contribute. That's number one. Number two, what you also need to be careful of is how you program people to treat you. When I say program, I use the word program very loosely because I don't know what other words to use for it. But first impressions count very, very heavily, right? And how somebody meets you and how they sort of suss you out in the first few times. If you're throwing money at everything like all the time and this is how you act, yada yada yada, and they just expect to just sit back and like, oh yeah, he'll always pay for everything, I'll be good, and like they don't want to think twice about it, then that's what they expect for the rest of it. Tony Robbins, he's got this one thing where one of his seminars at like some island, he said treat the people who get to the end of a relationship, they should treat it like it's the start of the relationship. Because like, what were you doing then?
Yeah.
That got that relationship established, and then it falls off.
Fire.
That's right. So the fire in the loins. So if you start off first date, you get like expensive restaurant for dinner, and then the next like second date, like I don't know, a week later, you got like a hotel getaway, like in like some like a $3,000 hotel, and then like you buy her a Gucci bag the next one, and then like Louboutins, red bottoms like the next one. She's expecting, oh, I just sit back and he just gonna splurge on me. That's what you're programming. That's what you're setting that expectation. Thank you. That's the expectation of yourself that you're setting for her to look at you through. And then when you start dropping those things, you switch up. Then the reality shift is like, oh, hang on.
Yeah.
It's like if your boss always pays
You
you.
don't care for me as much anymore as well.
That's what it comes across as. So fellas, protect yourself in that aspect. If you're not boiling like that, just don't do that. Even if you are, don't do that. Okay. Save your, like put it in stocks or something, right? Build your wealth. So if you start like that, then that's what you're setting. But if you start at very chill, you allow her to pay. And look, I've done this before. Like I'll just sit back. All right, it's time to pay the bill. I'm like, all right, let's get to the counter. I'll just stand back like this.
Yeah.
Stand back like this. Look, and there'll be moments, like she'll pull out her card already by the time we get there. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, let me see if I can call the bluff. I just stand there. I'm like, oh yeah, she's paying for it. Oh, I just stand there. And if she doesn't bat an eye, dude, you got the money with her. Or she's like, oh, like, do you got it? Do you want me to get it? I think it could be a bluff. You know what I mean? Where it's kind of like, ooh, okay, like, let me just show like I want to pay, but then really I don't want to pay. If they pay, and then their attitude switches up on you, hey, yo, walk away, bro. Like, if it switches up for the worst, just gotta walk away. Because at that point, that's where you get into, and again, this is not diagnosing nothing, but you get into like stuff like financial abuse, mental, emotional abuse, gaslighting, and guilt tripping. Oh, like if you love me, you're gonna pay for me. Oh, if you're a real man, you would pay. Oh, a real man would pay for all my stuff. It's kind of like, Shut up.
That's your ego.
Or like, you make
Yeah.
more money than me, so you should be able to pay it for me.
Bro,
Everyone's like, no.
okay, so I didn't do the study myself, but I saw this on a it was Instagram reel, I do believe. So this dude went around like one of these American campuses asking girls, "Oh, hey, like, does your boyfriend give a boyfriend? Oh yeah, I do. Okay, like, does he pay for everything? Oh yeah, he pays for everything, right? There are someone somewhere they'll interview a couple, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I pay for everything." And then he goes, "Oh," to the girl. He goes, "How much money do you have in savings?" "Oh, like 180 grand." And the dude goes, "What the hell? You've been paying all this time? You get
Yeah.
all this money in your bank account? Like, what the heck is
Yeah.
going on?"
Yeah.
Right? And then there are others like, "Oh, a couple 100,000, yada yada yada." Like, or someone's like, "Oh, I got like $2,000, yada yada yada." Right? So ladies have money. Right? If you really want to say, "Oh, I don't have money for this," yada yada yada. Then she goes get her nails done, manicure, pedicure, gets her hair done, cut, blow dry, $400 drop like that. I thought you didn't have no money. You know what I mean?
Mm. Game
Anyway,
changer.
I'm gonna get off my
Like,
soapbox.
But that's the reality of some of the things that's actually
Oh,
happening
yeah.
right now. Is that
Oh yeah.
is that
True.
they, because of this men's inherent need to be like, I got to pay for everything. They actually, even when they don't have the funds, especially right now, it's not an easy economic environment.
Oh yeah.
They'll still do it.
Mm.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And
Yeah.
that comes this idea: if you're going on 100 dates, you're playing yourself, brother.
Mm.
Because how much money are you wasting going on all these dates every weekend?
Up to like
Time,
200
money,
bucks,
it's
300
unbelievable.
bucks.
If you just hustle and work on yourself, then you have the opportunity to truly pick someone to truly go on a date with and actually give them the time and attention properly. You know what I mean? Because when you take someone on a date, it shouldn't just be something of low significance, because then you're just, it's nothing.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
when you take someone on a date, they need to know that, hey, you're on a date with me. Let's
Yeah.
get to know each other. Let's
It's got a
see
different
where
tone.
it's got a way different tone.
Yeah.
And you're not playing yourself, because you're actually being very selective of who you're with. And if they know you're being selective, then they're gonna appreciate your time more,
Mm.
because
Mm.
they know that you pick them because you see something significant in them that
Yeah.
adds value to you, and they can then feel that if they go on that date with you, you add value to them,
Yeah.
right? It's a total different tone.
It's a different balance.
It's a different balance, and that way you're actually, it's not just about wasting your money, but the quality of the person that you're willing to spend your time with is always going to be higher,
Mm.
right? And that actually
Mm.
sets a much better tone for you as a high valued man.
On that topic, and speaking of which, of setting that tone for yourself, that also makes it easy for you to walk away.
Correct.
Because if you have an expectation, like a standard, clearly communicated, like you know where you sit, where you stand, then you can walk off the table when you need to, right? And I think as much as and this gets misconstrued, right? There are some dudes, they'll pay for everything out of just this is the courtesy,
Chivalry
or whatever, which is all good and
Or
well. But
cultural thing,
yeah, it's like ethnic dudes, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
very cultural thing.
yeah.
There's the side that society doesn't talk about, because obviously there's, oh yeah, he's being a simp, yada yada yada. There are some, and I'm like this. I myself am like this, right? Just like I'll invest in like one person, and that's it, right? I'll be chill, do whatever, pay for stuff, do stuff, like whatever, all good, right? The second that they take that for granted, ice cold cutoff. It's kind of like, all right, cool, all that is off the table.
That's right.
So just as much, I think, as a dude, you can be very willing to do things for your girl. You also gotta have that self-awareness, that self-confidence, that self-respect, that self-love to go, okay, cool. Once that is now being taken advantage of, I'm just gonna walk away. Because if you stay there again, you're developing that expectation of, I can be however I want, and he's still gonna do all these things. No. Like there is something about high value where it's kind of like, oh, you don't just get it. Like Ferraris, for example. You guys know what they do with Ferraris? Like if you try to customize them, they don't let you. So if you buy a Ferrari and then you decide to do body work, you have to actually ask Ferrari for permission to do the bodywork modifications, all that kind of stuff, even just to add a body kit, right? There are people, and you can look this up. There are people who they've customized their Ferraris with like extra bodywork, bought on like rocket bunny kits for all the car guys out there. And Ferrari has gone to them like, yo, you can never buy another Ferrari ever again You didn't ask for permission. You're ruining the value of this vehicle. You don't need to do anything to it. Maybe like an exhaust and some wheels. That's about it. But body modifications are like, nah,
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of like, as a dude, there's nothing wrong with being willing to put all this on the table because that's just who you are.
Yeah.
At the same time, you got to be very willing to take all of that off the table
Yeah.
when who you are is now becoming compromised and taken advantage of.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And if you're willing to go off the table and they're willing to stick it out with you, that's something else.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That shows that if, there's almost this sense, if you go cold turkey and they message you and they communicate back, that means they value you in some way. But
Or
if
you're
you
just
go,
driving them crazy.
yeah, but either or, that's connection, that's chemistry.
Steve is a dangerous man.
You know what I mean? But if you go cold turkey and you don't hear a peep from them, then
They got other options.
yeah,
Ladies have options.
you're just on their docket, mate. You know what I mean? But
It wasn't yours. It was just your turn.
yeah, that's right. So you sometimes isolating yourself from the situation will show if someone's willing to fight for you. And if they're willing to fight for you, then you know that there's this inherent discussion that can happen between you both where you're worth it for each other.
Yeah, damn. Bars. Christo, sorry, man. We've been hugging it up.
bro. No. Well, I know my man's ready to fire.
Oh, we're about like an hour in. I mean, this is pretty good, though.
Yeah, I didn't have too much to share. Like, I just wanted to say, like, I'm just so enthralled by what you guys are sharing because it resonates with me.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to
Yeah.
just, for the listeners out there, like, we just want to share our experiences. And, from my end, like, I've had those traits that the boys spoke about. And, if I can overcome it, like, so can you guys.
Yeah.
And that's just the message that we want to impart for this episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what the limitless mentality is all about, is improving every part of yourself to be truly limitless in what you're trying to achieve. Because we all have all these challenges we're facing, whether it's talking to women, financially setting ourselves up for our goals, or just trying to be the best version of ourselves, physically as well, not just mentally. And how do we overcome those challenges? There's no manual, there's no instruction, there's no university or educational institution that's going to teach you how to do it.
They can come to Limitless University. I
That's
actually have an exercise you can do for this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Let the people
All right, here's an exercise that you can do for this. All right, so get a piece of paper, right? And I want you to ask yourself 3 key questions. Question number 1: what am I doing on a regular basis that's ruining my life? That's question number 1.
Self-reflection.
Self-reflection. Question number 2: where am I allowing my boundaries to be breached without speaking up for myself? And then question number 3: what areas in my life, if I got this perfect, would improve my life 10 times over? Those 3 questions.
Beautiful.
And it's not like a quick exercise. No, you write those 3 questions out. You sit and you think.
Yeah.
But there's something about actually speaking it to yourself. When you hear yourself say it, your brain will actually give you. You just sit there until an answer comes,
Beautiful.
and like your brain will go, "Oh, you're spending more money than you should. Oh, you're spending your time chasing girls. Oh, you're squeezing off every single night. Oh, you're watching TikTok like every single day. Oh, this or that. Okay, cool. What else?
I get it.
This, that, and the third. Oh, you're not doing your laundry.
Yeah.
Oh, you're fighting with your parents. Oh, this or that or what, right?
Yeah.
And then with these other questions, you literally sit there, you ask yourself those questions, and your
Yeah.
brain actually knows all the answers.
Yeah.
I'm of the belief that anything you need to do, like you've already got everything you need to do it.
Subconsciously, you just know it.
You do, right? But until you sit and you reflect and you ask yourself those things, right? If you want to extend it, right? Write this out. This one is very confronting. Where am I being desperate?
Yeah.
Is it women? Is it with work? Is it money? Is it friends? Is it this? Is it that? Like whatever,
Yeah.
right? And that will actually expose to yourself because your subconscious mind never forgets. It is
Yeah.
the best recording device on the planet.
That's right.
It will never forget. Your conscious mind forgets.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, oh, what's going on? Oh, there's lights, there's a podcast. I'm listening to these 3 dudes talk, yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada.
Yeah.
But your subconscious mind never forgets. That's
Because-
why you can walk into a bakery, you smell like these muffins. You're like, oh, my grandma used to bake those. Now you
Yeah.
think about your childhood, being at
That's
your
right.
grandma's house, all this stuff. Like these are just triggers.
Yeah.
So until you ask yourself these questions, your brain will never bring it to awareness. And you
Yeah.
find that these habits, they keep popping up again and again and again.
That's right.
Every single day you get, you're splurging like $10,000 on the, or I don't know, you're too forward and like she leaves you and you're like, what the hell? I'm being so nice.
That's right.
Right? Every single day, you're like, oh, I'm tired, I'm not making gains, I feel sleepy, I got pimples on my face. You're squeezing off every night. Like, learn about the human body, go look at science,
Yeah.
figure out what you're doing that's actually impacting yourself in a negative light.
Yeah.
and do that every single day.
Yeah.
Sit there, do it every single day for like 30 days.
Yeah.
And I promise you, you will literally be like, dude, I have literally been playing myself
That's right.
the whole time.
Exactly. Powerful. And
Yeah.
it's interesting, bouncing Simba, there's actually an exercise that I like to use, which is where you look at the best version of who you want to be, and then you write down all those values. And then you're like, I want to be confident, I want to be good in this, in like, sports or just fit, all the things, I want to dress
Yeah.
well, everything. Like all the things of the ideal person you want to be at your very best. You write it all down. All right, charismatic, whatever it is. And then you go and ask, you reverse those values into questions. Am I confident? Am I charismatic? Am I fit? You know what I mean? And like, am I charming? You know what I mean? Or like,
Yeah.
am I educated? All those, you reverse everything into questions. And then you go, the next step is, what am I going to do about it? You know what I mean? And then you basically holding yourself accountable in the exercise because you're like, what am I going to do about it? And then you basically have a roadmap. This is where I want to be. This is what I got to ask myself. And this is the answer to those questions where I need to improve. And this is how I'm going to do it. So you created your own development program by just doing that simple exercise. And then you have a roadmap to going, all right, this is what I need to work on. And then you can then ask yourself, do I need to ask someone to help me on this? Is there some things here that I need to address that I can't do by myself? So I got to
Yeah.
ask someone.
Mm.
And the second thing you're going to do is at least you got steps to begin.
Yeah.
Taking that first step, you have options.
Yeah.
Which one can I take the first step in? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that it'll highlight, like even issues that you're experiencing within yourself,
Straight up.
insecurities, challenges mentally, or even physical challenges, where I need to improve, and then you can begin your program.
And then one point off the back of that, yo, this one will get home. So once you figure out what Steve is talking about, the best version of yourself, what does that look like? Every single day, you're gonna look at, like you said, right? Am I confident? Am I this? Am I charismatic? Every single day, that most of those are the answer is a no, then you know you got work to do.
Exactly.
That's number one. Number two, if you're gonna compete with anybody, let that be the competition,
That's
the
it.
person that you want to become.
That's it.
And that's how you strip ego from the equation because you're
100%.
competing against you.
Yeah.
You're not looking at next door. You're not looking at keeping up with the Joneses. No.
No.
Every time you look at that list, you're like, all right, that's the guy I'm chasing.
Yeah.
Right? Matthew McConaughey, he had a interview where he was like, you know what, my idol and the person I look up to is me in 10 years time.
That's right.
Every 10 years, that 10 years is a lot further. It's a new person, a new version of him.
That's right.
Let that be a competition.
No, 100%. Because the moment that you make yourself the competition, you you take out any aspect of you taking down other people around you. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Because you create this. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance.
Ooh, it's a fine line.
It's a fine line.
It's a
And
fine line.
when you're confident, you have this inherent self belief that you can take on anything that you face, and that you have self assurity. You believe in yourself. Your human spirit is strong. Your will is strong.
Yeah.
But when you're arrogant, the difference is, yeah, you do believe you can take on the world and you're superior confidence, right? But you also compare yourself to the people around you.
And you use that internal belief
Yeah.
to belittle others.
That's right.
Yeah. That's when it really becomes like arrogance.
That's right. Exactly. And exactly, you're condescending.
Yeah.
And then because you're arrogant, you actually, you take the focus away from developing yourself to going, I need to be better than the people around me. You shift that focus. Well,
Yeah.
if you're just you versus you always, and you will always be every shell of who you are and break free.
Yeah.
And every time you break free, you understand how unlimitless your potential is. Because we create shells of ourselves every day
Yeah. Straight up.
through our excuses, our insecurities, our fears, and also the opinions of others. Don't let other people's opinions define your limits. Don't let other people's opinions define your potential. You are who you are for a reason.
Mm.
You are inherently more powerful when you truly believe in yourself. Because when you believe in yourself, all their opinions don't mean shit. You know, every limit that we see within ourselves, all these man-made constructs, were made by another human being. So why would you let another human being's limits define you?
It
You,
should inspire you.
we should inspire you.
Mm.
You know what I mean? We are at the top of the apex for a reason.
Apex predator.
Yeah. Mm.
Crystal, we've been stealing the thunder, man. What you
Nah,
got to say about some of this? Let's hear from you, huh?
Yeah.
You guys are hitting it. But no, I think it's. Should we wrap it up soon, boys?
And now 13. Look, we've been going for quite a
Yeah,
bit.
we've been
You
going
know what
for
I
a
mean?
bit.
Yeah,
And
we
I
could
just
go
wanted to
all
say,
night.
like, I think that's powerful, man, like what you shared about self-awareness. I call it self-audit, you know, doing it for a
Ooh,
period
yeah.
of time and just auditing the day.
Mm.
I
I
know
like that.
back in network marketing days, we used to
Mm.
have that 30-day call run, as they say.
Ah,
That was some
memories.
hardcore
That was
training.
That
Yeah.
was hardcore. 30 days straight.
Consistency.
Consistency, right?
That's
You
right.
do that audit, whether that's your habits formation, whether that's your mindset.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of like self-reflection you have to do. So thanks for sharing that. Even what you shared, man, that's powerful stuff. It was like a whole keynote. And you drop a keynotes
I'm
every
sorry.
episode.
He's dressed for a keynote too, man.
Man. But
Yeah.
we'll definitely push out the content in real format. So thanks for sharing, boys. And
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
have anything else that you want to say as we wrap this episode?
Yo, if you like this content, I'm still in Crystal's line. If you like this kind of content, yo, continue to give us feedback for sure. We've been getting feedbacks through the DMs, face to face,
That's right.
good, the bad, the ugly. Send everything through. You know what I
We
mean?
are for the people.
That's right. Our goal right here is obviously to add as much value as possible in the most comfortable way. And my elbow keeps getting wet because Steve leaked all over the desk. But I say, okay, the show goes on. Yeah, you can find us at the Limitless Show.podcast on Instagram and even on Beacons. We don't have a Twitter, but we got IG, YouTube, and TikTok. If you want some consultancy, Deca Consultancy's got you. CS Deca with the 2Ks. You got Crystal over here. If you need, hey, yo, check out Xeno Haven. Check out Xeno Haven, yo. You got that the giveaway going.
Yeah, we do. We do. We actually have a giveaway at the moment. Smash. Thanks for bringing this up.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
actually an anime convention in Australia, one of the biggest ones.
yeah. Well,
So yeah, we're definitely running a giveaway for our.
So
brand,
smash
you
that
know.
like button.
Yeah, smash that like button, guys.
smash that like and subscribe. What else is there? Steve, any last words?
I
You
just
you said a lot, man. You said a whole keynote. No more words from you. No more words. Nah. Any last words, man?
all I just want to say is like, for all those people out there, just keep working on yourself. If the biggest
Yeah.
takeaway is just keep the focus, commitment to yourself,
Mm.
and just keep
Yeah.
taking steps each and every day. Just step in the right direction of what you're trying to achieve to make your dreams come true, and just watch it unfold. Simple as that.
Love it. You heard it here first, boys. Stay limitless, guys.
Stay
See you in the
limitless.
next pod.
Peace out.